Hi everyone and welcome back to Adventure Planet and another news update. Now 2025 has certainly not been the best start for the UK theme park industry, from ride and attraction closures at parks like the Pleasure Beach Resort, ride removals at parks like Alton Towers and Lightwater Valley, to huge cutbacks being made across the Merlin-owned theme parks, affecting areas like entertainment teams, events and much more. It looks to be the start of a very trying year across the industry. And the current state of the economy in the UK is making things increasingly difficult, not just for people like you and me, the public, to actually get out and visit these parks, but also for the parks themselves that have to contend with the rising costs of things like electricity, F&B, merchandise, staff wages, and much more. We're seeing even the very popular parks begin to struggle, but unfortunately this means that the less popular parks are really feeling that hit, some of which are in quite a bit of trouble. And unfortunately today, the 4th of February 2025, some very sad news came in from Oakwood Theme Park in Wales, announcing that the park would not be reopening for the 2025 season. Now, Oakwood Theme Park is located in Pembrokeshire in Wales. It sits on about 80 acres of land and opened back in 1987 as a relatively small family-owned park with a number of pretty low-key attractions. They had like a 3D cinema there, some go-karts, they had the train, but it proved to be incredibly popular with absolutely huge crowds that at the time, the McNamara family, the owners, they really struggled with. There was just these huge amounts of crowds building, but they were incredibly passionate about the park, wanted it to do well. And in the 90s, the big guns started arriving with Megaphobia, which is still the best wooden coaster in the UK, in my opinion. Vertigo, the Sky Coaster, came in, Hydro, then a bit later, Speed No Limits, which was, at the time, the first Gerstlauer Eurofighter in the UK, and in my opinion, the best one out of the three that we have here. The forces on that thing are incredible, they really are. Unfortunately, fast forward to 2008, the park had lost a lot of its popularity, and there were worries that the park was going to be permanently closed back then. However, it was saved by current owners Aspro Parks. Now, they're a Spanish company, and they're not all that familiar here in the UK. They're probably best known for their Aqualand water parks and their Blue Reef aquariums, which can be found throughout Europe. I think there's a few in Spain and France, the Netherlands, I think, if I remember correctly. They came in, they rethemed a few of the areas around the park, brought in some new ideas. But although they did heavily invest something like £25 million in the time that they owned the park, it didn't kind of feel that way. It just felt like they were just kind of keeping the park ticking along, you know. Until 2023, just a couple of years ago, when it was announced that Oakwood's signature attraction, Megaphobia, was to be given a £1.6 million refurbishment. Now, Megaphobia opened at the park in 1996, manufactured by CCI and designed by the legend himself, John Wardley. And I think it's fair to say that it was a much needed refurb, as the ride really was quite a painful experience before that work was done. The Gravity Group came in that consisted of ex-CCI engineers, and they retracked 40% of the ride. They added new double up and double down elements. They reprofiled the first drop to make it steeper, and it ran like an absolute dream. I mean, as mentioned earlier, in my opinion, it's absolutely the best wooden coaster in the UK. It may not have had the theming or the storyline of something like Wicker Man, but looking at just the ride experience itself, it was leagues ahead. And if you were ever lucky enough to get a night ride on that beast during the After Dark event, it really was absolutely phenomenal. It was a fantastic investment, like I say, really was needed. And I'd hoped at the time that, you know, that was going to be the beginning of Oakwood bouncing back, you know, as the park was feeling tired. And I can remember just trying to feel kind of optimistic about its future, you know, but unfortunately, then came the visit of 2024 last year. And for those that have seen that vlog here on the channel, let's not mince words here, it was pretty dire. The entrance to the park had all been demolished and hadn't been replaced with anything. Drenched was still sitting SB&O as the first thing you saw when entering, just on the right there. There'd been absolutely no movement on any construction on the area where the mini golf used to be. The Spooky 3D building was still sitting empty and derelict. Spooky Street itself was looking really tired and overgrown. It really wasn't the best. And I got to say, as sad as this news is, I have to say that for me at least, it hasn't really come as unexpected. With the exception of Megaphobia, there had been a clear lack of investment over the past few years. And unfortunately, the park had recent incidents as well, involving injuries to riders on the Treetops coaster and Bounce, the shot and drop tower. And obviously that really didn't help either. Now, as mentioned, a statement was issued by the park earlier today, which I will just read through now. It's on their official website if you do want to go and take a look. Basically says, Oakwood Theme Park to close. It is with much sadness that we have to announce the immediate closure of Oakwood Theme Park and confirm the park will not open for the 2025 season. Following a strategic review of the business, Aspro Parks, owner and operator of Oakwood Theme Park, have reached this difficult decision due to the challenges presented by the current business environment. All possible avenues have been explored to avoid the closure, and we fully recognise the impact of the closure on the local community and the loss that will be felt as a result. Aspro Parks has invested over £25 million, there we are, since rescuing the park from being at risk of closure in 2008. Most recently, a major refurbishment of Megaphobia, the iconic wooden roller coaster, was completed to great success and acclaim from enthusiasts and fans of the park. Despite the ongoing investment, visitor numbers have declined, the financial performance of the park has suffered, making further investment unsustainable. The unrelenting economic challenges ahead, increases in costs affecting all areas of the operation, from ride parts to electricity costs, food and beverage, inflation, increases in NLW, National Living Wage, and changes to national insurance thresholds have all impacted the decision. A statement from Aspro Parks Group said, "In the entire history of Aspro, we have never closed any park or attraction. We and our dedicated team of staff have strived to overcome numerous challenges to continue to bring joy to families and visitors across the region and country. Unfortunately, we could no longer see a sustainable way forward and will seek to improve our other parks using the assets and, where possible, team elsewhere. We are aware that Oakwood has been a much-loved destination for generations and a rite of passage for many young visitors. It is for this reason we feel such a sense of sadness. We'd like to extend our heartfelt thanks to the dedication and commitment of our team members, past and present, suppliers and contractors who have loyally supported us, and of course all those that have visited Oakwood Theme Park over the years. We are sincerely grateful. Thank you for making Oakwood Theme Park a special place." Yeah, it's really, really sad. Now, although it specifically mentions the closure as being for the 2025 season, to me, this statement has a definite air of finality to it, suggesting that this park could be done for good. It is always, of course, possible for the park to be saved, as it was in 2008. However, it would need a lot of investment, and in these difficult times, I'm not so sure that anyone is going to step up to that plate. I can only hope that if the park has seen its final days, like rides like Megaphobia, Speed No Limits, and my good old friend, the Crocodile Coaster, can be saved and, maybe moved to other parks across the UK, if not Europe, or somewhere close by at least. Like I say, it's very sad, and it's yet another huge blow for the UK theme park industry. And my thoughts do go out to all the amazing, friendly and helpful staff that I've met and chatted to since I first visited the park all the way back in the year 2000. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments. What will you miss most about Oakwood? Do you think the park will be saved for a second time? And just what is happening currently to not just UK theme parks, but theme parks all over the world? 2025 could be a pretty bleak year. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, happy riding, and I'll see you in the next video.